Now I've just built this multi-fuel stove and I plan to light it right now. Here we go. Now just before I light the stove, lots of people have asked me for a close-up look at it. This is 6mm by 50mm flat iron and some 20mm rebar, 17mm rebar. And that's it, that's half of it, and it just goes in like this. I put it in at a bit of an angle, you know, it goes in at a slant like this. And then I just tilt it forward. And that's it, it's in. A couple of seconds and it's in. It's really strong. I don't know how long I'm going to get out of it because I do plan on burning waste oil in this eventually. But for now, it's just a solid fuel stove. So I'm going to light it on some wood and whatever else I can find around the place. Now, the reason I built this multi-fuel stove is so I can burn, you know, all sorts of stuff to keep the shed warm. So if I'm in here in winter, you know, I can burn wood, pallets, you know, whatever I want. And eventually I'm going to change it so that I can drop some waste oil into this as well, that sort of thing. So it's really going to be a multi-fuel stove. It's going to be a heat source for my shed. Now the bottom ash door is also my air supply. And I control the air supply with these things. These are just shut-off plates, if you like. And literally, they just slide in here. And this one goes in the other side. And then, you know, if I want to control the air, I literally just create a bit of a gap and the air goes in that gap. If I shut it off, it doesn't burn fast. If I open it up, it'll burn vigorously. So I will be putting some fire bricks and stuff like that in this stove, but I'm not doing it until I burn off the paint first. So it's not going to look as pretty once I burn it, but you know, it's going to be functional. And I have some stove paint I can put on it afterwards. How long that stays on it is anybody's guess. So there's a view around the stove. And maybe you can see the fiberglass rope in around the back. I can tighten that in more, and I could put some more screws in it or bolts in it if I need to. So that's it, and you can see the rope, you know, around the contours, you know, going into the cavities of the contours. And around the back then, there's the exhaust. Now I've set that up so that it's for 6-inch flue, and it'll be really good. So all in all, deadly little setup. Now I've put some fresh fiberglass rope around that door. It's 20mm or thereabouts. It's nice thick stuff. It's got plenty of give in it. And when I close it, it makes a nice airtight seal against the door. So this should be quick and easy to light. I'm lighting it outside of the shed so that when the paint on the outside of the barrel burns off, it doesn't throw a load of smoke into the shed. So here we go. So the bit of a flue on the back is just pushed into position. It's not even screwed on. Now it looks okay. So when I close this, it should get the air for the burn up through the bottom of it. That's looking fairly nice now. So it's going okay. If the fire takes, this will be great. I'll throw some more stuff on it. And it's clear at the moment, but there's going to be a lot of smoke off the outside of the barrel in a few minutes once the fire gets up to temperature, you know. Oh, I can see the paint beginning to go off the outside of the barrel already. Yep, it was a nice red. It won't stay that way for long, unfortunately. Now I've made a couple of changes to the stove. I've set it up so that I can put these fire bricks in the front of it, and it's essentially just to narrow down the opening. With the opening the size it is, there's too much air coming in and not enough suction on the flue, so some of the smoke is going to come out. So the handiest way of doing that is just for me to put a bit of, you know, fire brick in there. So I've welded up a bit of a bar in there, just a retainer to hold these things, and I just drop them in. That's it, they're nice and tight, they won't fall out. Okay, so the burn chamber in the stove is very big. I've got a basket of fuel here. It's an old pallet, you know, wood pallet. I'm just going to throw it in here. What's going to happen is it's going to burn off the rest of the paint for me. I'm going to get a look, see how the flue is performing, and I'm going to check it out. This is just the first lighting. I won't overfill it. Light this stuff, see how it burns, and then move from there. Okay, so the smoke is going in the right direction. I can see it being sucked in now, which is great. Means the flue is doing its job. The flue, this is 6-inch flue. The bottom piece there, this is stainless steel. So the stainless steel pipe goes into this socket. I welded this socket onto that. And then up it goes, next socket, and then on out through the roof. So very good. And the stove itself looks like that. So look, it's going really well at the moment. This is the first time I've connected it to a flue. I did light it outside. I just threw in some stuff and lit it and let the paint burn off on the outside of it. These are, yeah, I can actually feel the draw there. I can feel it sucking air through that hole. So the idea of this is that I can, you know, slide these, adjust the air intake, but also open them and put a shovel in there and take out all the cinders, whatever. Obviously there won't be much of that if I'm burning waste oil in it. Okay, so look, you get barrels for nothing pretty much everywhere. This one cost me a fiver, you know, €5. So it's very, very cheap. And although it won't last forever, you know, my last barrel lasted a few years, no problem. And it was still working when I took it out. So look, I could have just cut a square out of the barrel and put some sort of reinforcement behind it, and it would have worked as well. You don't need to see the flame. I like to see the flame. I already had this cast iron door, so I built a frame to accommodate it, and it's working really well. This could be a handy project. You could just cut a hole in the door and literally just throw stuff in and it'll burn. The trick is to connect it up to a flue and to make it so that you can regulate the air intake. So that's what I did. I put a couple of sliders on it, these things, and I can regulate the air going into it, and as a result I can, you know, regulate the burn. 6-inch flue, and the longer the flue the better, because the more suction there is on it. I'm going to do a couple of things with this stove now to make it burn waste oil. It won't burn waste oil as it is, although you could drip waste oil into it, I'm sure, you know, and get it to work. But I have a bit of a burner design in mind, and I'll get to that. But at the moment, you know, if all I wanted to do was throw in some scrap wood or coal or whatever into this, it'll just burn it and produce heat for the shed. So at some stage very soon, I'm going to make up a burner unit, you know, waste oil burner unit, and put it into this and get that working. But at the moment, I'm very, very happy with the way it looks. I'm very happy with the way it's working, and very cheap project. Although it's not a cold day, I can feel the heat from here, so it's fantastic. So look, I'm going to leave it there for now. If you liked the video, please thumbs up, subscribe down here if you wouldn't mind, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye for now, good luck.